Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the New York Talk. This is again the Scouting Report, where we look ahead to our next opponents. And this time we have recently relegated Leicester City, which will be obviously a big challenge. We have Brad joining us. How are you doing, Brad?
I'm good, mate. I'm just kind of enjoying the fact that I'm seeing my team actually win games for once. I think we've already. It feels like we've already equalled the amount of wins we got last season. It was that poor. So yeah, great to be on this channel. Thanks for having us on. And yeah, it's nice to be in the division where we can actually win games.
Yeah, I wish you knew what that felt like. I'm sure we will soon, but not yet. So, as you mentioned, it's a perfect start. League and Cup, 4 wins out of 4, obviously 3 of those in the league. All by fairly narrow margins. Has it been fairly comfortable, or are you still settling into the league? Really,
I think it's it'd be unfair to say it's been comfortable because the scorelines suggest it's not. It's been anything but comfortable. I think we're still very much finding ourselves into the league. We're also very much only starting to really slowly settle into the new manager, his philosophy, his way of playing. I mean, even he stated after the Cardiff game that the entire squad is only 20% into the understanding and of how he wants them to play. And if after the first 4 games of what we've seen as Leicester fans, we're all pretty much saying that if that's 20%, we can't wait for 100%. There was obviously a little bit of doubt going into the start of the season that we might struggle, and obviously still 43 games to go. That may still be the case. We're not hedging our bets just yet on anything just because of a good start, but we were probably expecting the first 10 games to be very tough, and in a lot of ways they were, but for the first time in a while I have seen Leicester go behind or be level late on in a game, and I've never really felt that the opposition were going to do anything to put the game out of sight. And I think that tells you the difference. If anyone was to ask what's the difference really between Championship and the Premier League, with the greatest respect, I mean, we're both seasoned clubs in the lower league. Let's be honest, we are. We're very short of Leicester in their time with the Premier League club. That you would say that's the biggest difference, is you never feel like you're out of a game, and if you can wrestle back control for 10-15 minutes, you can turn the game on its head. And that's really just what we've been doing well at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. Just thoughts on Maresca. Obviously, it came in from Man City, left Pep. Is it very much a Pep style, or is it a different type of football? It's only 20%, I suppose.
No, it's kind of like expression, like, if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it tends to be a duck. Well, if he looks like Pep, which he does, and he talks like Pep, which he does, then he's probably going to get you to play like Pep. And you know what? You look at all his predecessors beforehand. Vieira and Arteta. I'd argue on early sightings they can only go off 4 games in, but I would say we've got the best of the bunch because we really do live up to that tag. I know people will say it for financial reasons with the Man City in the Championship, but we really do play like it. It's patient, it's slow, but it's with a purpose, and that's the biggest difference Leicester fans will tell you between the slow and patient from Brendan and what we're seeing from Enzo is it's always done with some form of purpose. It's very Man City like in a lot of ways, not just the finances but the style of play. So if it looks like Pep, sounds like Pep, it's a wish order Pep, and I'm very happy with it. If he brings us 50% of the trophies that Pep's won over in his time at Manchester, sign me up.
Yeah, and with the squad that you've built, and obviously the sort of the maybe a hype behind in a little bit, is it pressure of it's got to go straight back up? If 7th is not acceptable, I assume.
Yeah, I think even without the marquee of the signings and the names behind a few of the signings, 7th to me just generally isn't acceptable as a newly relegated side, especially if you just look at it. And with the greatest respect to Championship, I will agree with anybody that it is the most difficult division to get out of. I'm not saying that we should by any means stroll to automatic promotion. We have no divine right to say we'll be a top 2 side. But 7th or lower would be a disappointment for me, regardless of ingoings and outgoings this season. So it would definitely be a disaster this season if we weren't to at least be in the playoffs. But having said that, I do think people tweak their aspirations once that transfer window and how your start of the season goes, doesn't it? I'm sure that the most diehard of Rotherham fan is digging around for a bit of optimism at the moment. We talked a little bit backstage about some of your results, but we're trying the opposite of that. We're trying not to get ahead of ourselves and suddenly think we're going to get automatic. We're still trying to keep the feet grounded, and sometimes it's not the worst possible thing to maybe have a season or two in the Championship to fully rebuild. I mean, it's not exactly like, and I know our comparisons to the Championship squad in terms of our expenditure is bad, but we haven't gone ballistic and spending 30, 40, 50 million on players. We've signed 2 quality, or at least regular quality standard Premier League players in Cody and Winks for less than 15 million, which I think maybe just adds that impetus. And then obviously you probably compare our starts to Southampton and Leeds. Leeds a terrible start. Southampton are fairly up there. Let's be honest. They've had a decent start themselves. But Leicester again topping that tree in terms of meeting early season expectations. So yeah, 7th or lower is a disaster. But if anyone said to me third, 4th, 5th, or 6th, I wouldn't see it as a disaster. Given the start and what we're expected to do this season.
Yeah. And just talking about some players, the only game I watched of yours was the first game that was on Sky when Dewsbury Hall was just brilliant. Just pick out him, I assume him and a couple of the players who are going to be the key men this season and probably Saturday as well.
Yeah, I mean, you lose someone like Maddison, and the one thing I've always liked about our club, especially over the last 5 or 6 years, is even when we lose what you would call a big name, and I could go back and name a few, we're losing Maddison, we're seeming to try and replace him with Dewsbury Hall. He's been given that more assertive free role under Enzo. When we lost, I call him the French Voldemort, but for Rotherham fans who maybe don't know who I'm on about for that context, Wesley Fofana. We sold him to Chelsea. Well, we had replacement for him in Wout Faes. We got him for 15 million. Before that, Maguire, we replaced him with Soyuncu. And the fact that Leicester always seem to have a ready-to-hand replacement is something that I think a lot of clubs envy, and not just in the Championship, in the Premiership. I think all over the world of football, I think they'd envy the way Leicester have always seemingly got a replacement to hand. That you look back over history and you look maybe back at Southampton when they were selling everybody to their second team. Sorry, I mean, they were selling their players to Liverpool, not their second team. People saying, you can't keep doing that without, eventually the rug getting pulled underneath your feet. Well, Leicester do it in a way that kind of complements that. We bring up youth as well as find great bargains, and it seemed to be working. So, yeah, Dewsbury Hall's definitely the key for the season. New boy wise, I think Harry Winks is a danger man. He gets everywhere. I know there's probably still a few fans that maybe want to see more of him in the attacking front, but in terms of tracking back, getting the ball in dangerous areas, putting Leicester on the front foot, we talk about replacements again. You may be contrasting to Yuri Tillemans, who had that number 8 role. Well, he seems to be stepping into that very well. And then you've got the defence. That they just seem to be so much more marshalled and more organised on the ball. But yeah, if you said to me top 3 key men, it'd be Dewsbury Hall, it'd be Winks, and it would probably be Wout Faes, because they're trying to play him like a centre-back / striker this season. So he might be one to watch out for, depending where he is on the field.
Fair enough. Difficult one, maybe one to answer. But if Rotherham were to stand a chance, if Rotherham were to beat, how would that happen? What would need to happen? Do you think, right from a Rotherham point of view, and maybe wrong from a Leicester point of view, for us to get a positive result?
I think first of all, you've got to you're going to do the natural thing that comes naturally to any side when they're taking on what you'd consider the heavyweight of the division, and that is you're going to be compact. You're going to try and frustrate Leicester. You're going to try and get men behind the ball and do that. And to a degree, that's great. That will work. But if you then look at what happened in the latter stages, and I know it's been quite consistent, and that will probably backs my point even further. You can't continuously do that. You have to show us some threat, because if you get to about the 70th minute and us as fans are going, well, we're 1-0 down, we're 0-0, whatever the scenario is at that point, but they're not really doing anything, we kind of feel that there's a goal going to come, and the players feel that as well. And if you try and play that way for 90 minutes, we'll unlock you. Ask Cardiff, 92nd minute. Ask Coventry, 70, 5th and then an 85th minute goals. Ask Huddersfield Town, who tried to do it for 90 minutes, 72nd minute, Mavridis scored. And you cannot allow us to get in a position of power. So even if if we're 1-0 down, but we take you back to 1-0, you can't go back into shell. It's so difficult to describe how to beat us at the moment, because you've got to get that balance right, and that's all you can do. I'm not exactly sure what it is you did against Blackpool. I do feel your pain, but you shoot yourself in the foot at 2-0 against a strong side. You deserve to kind of not walk away with all 3 points. And I think if you can maybe whatever that was, do that to Leicester, and then maybe just try not to get yourself down to 10 men, and you might just come away with a point. You just got to find that balance of knowing when to be defensive and compact, and when to try and put the pressure on Leicester. Because if you let us get comfortable and you let us have 65, 70% of the possession and pass it around your defensive freedom, we'll score. And then we'll just take the game from you. We'll rip it out from underneath your feet, or we'll go and score 2-3 goals. And you're going, you'll be doing a post-match thinking, for 60 minutes we had Leicester on the back foot, but then we just didn't know how to step it up. And that's ultimately what's cost teams that we played already. So, be compact at the start, but have a plan B ready. Have a plan to engage Leicester at their own game. That would be the best thing you could do, and the worst thing that could happen to Leicester is you engage and beat us at our own game, in a sense.
That's interesting. Thank you. Let's finish on a score prediction, if you can. I imagine it's going to be a positive one for you guys.
I mean, I can't look past the fact that obviously you haven't won a game yet. Obviously, the biggest standout result is the fact that you were 2-0 up against Blackburn and then shot yourself in the foot. And I just wonder how that seemingly affected you mentally. It's not easy. And you know that it's going to be difficult. I think if we get our noses in front, this could be a nightmare for Rotherham. I think this could be one of the first glaring results that you look at over the weekend going, oh, God, Rotherham, you didn't need that. Personally, I like the underdog, so I hope we don't kind of do that to you. But I'm going to go for Leicester to win 3-0. I think it's going to be one of them where it might be another late surge of goals, but I just feel throughout the game we'll find a way to keep breaking you down and we'll be more clinical in front of goal.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that's going to be super, super tight, and like I said, maybe a late goal, or it's going to be relatively comfortable for you guys. We're obviously not going to run away 3-0 winners, I don't think. So it's going to be very tight or comfortable for you guys, sadly for us. But thank you, Brad. If you just let everybody know where they can find any of your sort of preview stuff for the game, if everyone wants to check you guys out.
Yeah, you can find me on LTID TV or Leicester Till I Die if you want to search that way. We've got 2 channels. I operate LTID TV 2, as you can see by my name there, but go and check out LTID TV 1 because that's where you will be joining us on our preview, where we'll be discussing a very small register of games between us, but I've got some stats to bring up. So go and show that support over there. Go and show them both support, because one's a football quiz channel, so it's all enjoyment for everybody, and the women's game as well, if you're interested in that. And the LTID TV one is where we'll be doing our preview on Thursday. So check us out there and just give any other socials that we have a good follow, and that'd be appreciated. Make sure you're smashing the like and subscribe on this lads channel though. This has been fun to come on here.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going to say, if you're watching, please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out these guys as well. And thank you everyone who has been with us, and we will see you all next time. Up the Millers. Bye.